Hello, I'm Rob, and I am still on that Fakemon grind. I've got 4 new designs to share today, but real quick before we get into it, thank you all for the support you gave my first video. The response has been truly overwhelming, and I'm delighted that you all enjoyed the concept so much. The 2 most common questions I received was if I was going to continue designing the rest of the tarot, or if I was going to develop a full fan region. And I'm really flattered by all of your interest. It's because of that I will be continuing to explore and design all the 22 major arcana as part of a series. While this project could and may serve as the base for a full region, developing something of that scope takes a lot of effort, and unfortunately I've got a lot of irons in the fire right now. I would enjoy tackling that challenge in the future, and if it becomes a possibility, then the Pokemon I've designed will absolutely serve as its foundational Pokedex. But for now, the Fakemon works on this channel will largely feature a mix of studies, practice, and some wish fulfillment. Hopefully that's enough to tempt you to stick around in the meantime. Let's move on to the Fakemon. For those of you who are just joining us, the major arcana are a series of cards from the tarot. When used in divination, they symbolize significant and often transformative events that await us on the paths of our lives. Previously, we covered the Hierophant, the Devil, and the Hermit. So today, we'll be examining 3 different members of the major arcana. And since the Fool is the card of beginnings, it feels pertinent that we should start with it, right? Introducing the first of today's creations. Prelude, the potential Pokemon. Prelef's wings aren't developed enough for true flight, so it travels by hopping around and fluttering its wings, though it never looks before it leaps. It is fascinated by everything it comes across, trilling and humming whenever it discovers something new or especially interesting. It is easily distracted and wanders into peril quite frequently, yet despite this, it is masterful at avoiding threats. It whimsically dodges attacks by playing with its aggressors until they tire out. Prelude is derived from Prelude, an introduction to an event or a piece of music, and Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet with which the Fool is often associated. It has the ability Unaware, which befits its frequently distracted nature, and also represents its impossibly fortunate ability to survive what would otherwise be extremely dangerous attacks. Its design is primarily inspired from doves, with the leaf-like feathers on its tail and head referencing olive branches and crowns respectively, while its plumage is additionally styled like a white rose, which both pushes the themes of peacefulness and innocence, whilst also being a more direct reference to the design of the Fool card, whom is often depicted holding a white rose in their hand, symbolizing a freedom from baser desires. Many thanks to my friend Starolith for suggesting the gold leaf for the shiny colors. The rest of it fell pretty quickly into place after that. Prelude mimics the Fool as a creature embarking on a new journey, unaware of what lies on the road ahead. Inexperienced yet undaunted, the Fool can represent themes of innocence and potential, as well as naivete and recklessness. The Fool is often associated with a protagonist role, so Prelude will become a companion not too long after choosing your starter, putting one in your care at the beginning of your story and allowing the 2 of you to undertake the Fool's journey together. Its fairy typing represents its whimsically reckless nature, while its normal typing represents the potential it has yet to unlock. Like you, it is a blank slate upon which the world will make its impression. I wonder how it'll grow. Our journey continues, bringing us to our next arcana, the Magician. As a being of 2 worlds, I think it would be represented quite well by our next Pokemon. Riri, the novice Pokemon. Riri's magic is too strong for its body to handle, and it cares very little about practicing its art, instead using what power it can handle to craft illusions that fool other creatures. They gather in large covens to amplify the potency of their spells, confusing their victims with tricks and hexes, and stealing their goods amidst the chaos. They use an advanced form of echolocation to identify ghost types, and feed by siphoning energy off of their incorporeal prey. Riri's name is derived from rear mouse, an archaic word for bats, and eerie, as in to be spooky or unsettling. It also sounds a bit like the screeching call of a bat. Its Japanese name, Bukikimi, is a combination of Bukimi, meaning creepy, eerie, so on, and Ki-Ki, the Japanese onomatopoeia of a bat chirping. Its primary ability is Magician, for obvious thematic reasons, and it has the hidden ability Infiltrator, in part due to its cunning personality, but it also works that Infiltrator is an ability found both on Bat and Ghost Pokemon. Kinda seems like an obligation at that point. I debated if the wisp on its head looked too much like clothing, but now I feel the Pokemon clothing angle made it suitably uncanny, helping sell its ghost normal typing and mimicking stories of mischievous and diminutive non-human humanoids from across various mythologies and cultures of the world. When exposed to a Duskstone, Riri evolves into Sorcerer, the Spellcraft Pokemon. Sorcerer has learned to channel its incredible magic power as an extension of its physical form. It is very prideful of its talents and suffers no rivalry, overwhelming other Sorcerer who encroach on their territory with potently destructive displays of magic. The most powerful of this species appear to be able to travel between our world and the Distortion world, using their supernatural sense of hearing to find where the borders are thin enough for them to cross over. This has led some to theorize that Sorcerer somehow feeds upon the latent energy of the Distortion world to develop their arcane prowess. Its name combines Sorcerer and Rear Mouse, where Mahomori is derived from Maho, meaning magic, and Komori, meaning bat. It replaces Magician with the new ability Sorcery, which increases damage done with its attacks by 1.3 times, so long as Sorcerer uses a different attack each turn. As normal types tend to have wide move pools, this should help it get the most out of its arsenal, however you build it. I owe a huge bout of thanks to my friend Gimps for helping me finalize this evolution, as well as for suggesting the stark white, ectoplasm green colors of its shiny form. While not pictured here, he also suggested dimorphic traits across the whole line. Male species have larger noses, while female species have wider hats. I originally went with a taller, more elegant body for this design, but it felt too similar to Catastrophe, and a bit too human at that. Not the type of uncanny I was looking for. The small body hunting under a massive set of wings is a lot more charming, and pushed it over into feeling properly like a Pokemon. Its power doesn't necessarily make it grow bigger, it just expands to accommodate more arcane magnificence. The Magician is a being symbolic of willpower, manifestation of desire, and is also a figure of connection between the spiritual world and the physical world. They are reflections of each other, and as the Magician manifests their desire into reality, they shape the physical world around them to better match their world within. Riri begins the Arcana off in reverse. As little more than an illusionist, it relies on trickery and deception to find its success, gathering in numbers to bolster its middling magic. It effectively squanders its talents by committing to cheap tricks and illusions, content in fooling and fleecing other creatures instead of advancing its craft, like a mage's apprentice giddy with their newfound magical talent. After evolving, Sorcerer brings the Arcana upright. Evolution has helped it recognize and direct its desires, and while it still covets power like its previous stage, it accepts no shortcuts. It seeks mastery over its spellcraft, and the cheap tricks of its first stage have not given it any tangible results. It can only rely on its motivation and the power within to unlock the true limits of its abilities. Both stages of this line share the visual element of playing card suits, referencing both Parla Magician card tricks, but also the design of the Magician card, as the Magician is often depicted with the four suits of the tarot. Cups, pentacles, swords, and wands are equivalent to hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs, which in turn represent water, earth, air, and fire, respectively. Since normal types can have incredibly wide and diverse move pools, and since this line would definitely be no exception, the symbols are a cheeky way to show their prowess of shaping the elements. We come to our final Pokemon and our final card. Fitting that it would be the World. A symbol of completion and fulfillment. It is the last of the major arcana and the final chapter of the Fool's Journey. At a pivotal point in your adventures together, your Prelef will evolve, unveiling its final form, Divinale, the Flourish Pokemon. Divinale was considered a guardian angel in the days of antiquity, and was said to bring harmony wherever it soared. It flies with effortless grace, the melodies of its beating wings and contented humming delighting all who behold it. It elegantly dances around its opponents in battle, unperturbed by any danger, save for threats that hazard its trainer. The laurel-like feathers from its tail can cure any infirmity, but only if Divinale chooses to give them freely. Its name is derived from divine, meaning godlike or provident, and finale. It trades its previous ability Unaware for the newfound ability Serene Grace, as the Japanese name for the ability is called Heavenly Blessing, fitting of its newfound divine demeanor. It gains Dragon as its new secondary typing for two reasons. First, the world is surrounded by the four suits, which we previously established represent the classical four elements. The Dragon type is most often portrayed as the master of the elements, given their resistance to the four basic elemental types. Secondly, dragons as concept are also portrayed in Pokemon to be pinnacles of power and idealized potential. There are many Pokemon that lack the dragon typing, but are still considered to be dragons by virtue of their achievements alone. Both of those are good enough to justify the typing for me. When Prelude evolves into Divinale, its Arcana becomes the world, a figure that represents wholeness, achievement, and accomplishment. Where Prelude awkwardly fluttered and hopped with wide-eyed curiosity, Divinale gracefully dances in harmony with the universe, its supernatural luck now manifest as divine favor. With its journey finished and its goals complete, it begins the cycle anew, taking on a new role as it shifts from companion to guardian, eager to protect you, its trainer and treasured friend, from whatever challenges you both in the future ahead. And that's the last one for today. Reflecting on this batch, I tried to make the visual ties to their Arcana more apparent, but on reflection I'm concerned those aspects may now be too direct. Design is about conveyance, but I fear that incorporating more blatant elements ends up diluting the appeal of broader symbolism. Ultimately, I'm satisfied with the designs, but I'm also gonna ruminate on them for a bit. Also, I dropped a ghost type in October, so hopefully that fulfills my Halloween quota for this year. Let me know what you thought of today's works. As always, I welcome comments, thoughts, and feedback, and I would love to hear any you're willing to share. Big shoutouts to Starlith for being a $10 patron. Your support is much appreciated. If you liked today's video and want to support my art more directly, consider checking out my Patreon, with dope benefits like access to behind-the-scenes materials and concept art, as well as sneak peeks of upcoming projects. That's all from me for now. Thank you all for watching. Later!